Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So check this out. Hughley sat down with DJ Vlad, and they got into something I never thought we'd hear Vlad break down publicly. How he actually squashed his beef with Wack 100. Yeah, the same Wack 100 that Vlad had serious tension with years ago. But somehow, after all that history, they ended up doing business together. DL started it off saying he'd seen Vlad rebuild relationships with people who seemed like they'd never even breathe the same air again. He told Vlad, "I've watched you have relationships with people that I never thought could get along." And without hesitation, he brought up Wack 100. Vlad laughed and admitted, "Yeah, that's one of them." Then he explained how it all changed for him. And believe it or not, it came from watching the Vince McMahon documentary. Vlad said, "Vince was the first person I saw in a documentary who was so focused on business that ego wasn't even part of the equation. He had people who sued him, dissed him, even beat him in court, and he still brought them back, paid them, and turned the whole thing into a storyline. Everybody made money." That moment made Vlad realize that holding on to grudges just blocks opportunity. Ego doesn't make money. Business does. So fast forward a few years. Vlad and Wack had once tried to set up an interview with The Game, who Wack managed at the time, but the whole thing fell apart. The booking didn't go through, and that left some bad energy in the air. Years later, though, Vlad decided to reach out directly. He said, "We could sit here and rehash what happened 10 years ago, but at the end of the day, we've all done well. That situation didn't affect any of us. There's a business deal on the table. Do you want to move forward with it?" And Wack just said, "Yeah." That's all it took. No ego, no shade, just two grown men deciding to move past it. They did the interview with Game, and Vlad said Wack didn't try to interfere or control anything. In fact, he stepped out of the room and let them do their thing. That's when Vlad realized he was dealing with a different Wack this time. Not a pushover, but a guy who was clearly thinking bigger. Vlad said, "The level of ignorance and craziness from 10 years ago was replaced by someone who's looking at the big picture." From there, their relationship actually got better. Vlad mentioned that later, when Wack and Rick Ross had their own little back and forth, he called Wack up and told him, "Look at the bigger picture." And sure enough, Wack called Ross, they talked it out, and kept it moving. Vlad said, "You can talk it out with people if both people are reasonable human beings." DL told him he hopes he keeps that same energy in other situations too. Vlad agreed, but he was honest. He said, "You can talk it out if both people want to talk. But if one person refuses, there's nothing you can do." And that's real. You can't force reconciliation. Vlad even opened up about other beefs, like with Lord Jamar. He said the thing that bothered him was when Jamar told people to unsubscribe from Vlad TV and subscribe to his channel instead. Vlad told him, "Yo, that really bothered me. You were trying to hurt my business." And Jamar replied, "Come on, we all knew Vlad TV wasn't going anywhere." Vlad laughed and said, "All right, that's fair." Just like that. Peace. He even mentioned Joe Budden, who once said publicly he was gonna asterisk Vlad up, and even had lawyer money set aside for it. Vlad said for years if he went to events where Joe was, he'd bring security just in case. But one day they randomly ran into each other at Bergdorf Goodman in New York. No beef, no argument. They just shook hands, had a quick convo, and kept it moving. Vlad said after that, you never really saw that tension again, because the moment they actually met face to face, it just wasn't worth it anymore. DL laughed and said he's not built like that. He joked that if he doesn't like you, he's like Tom and Jerry. It's on sight every time. But Vlad made one of the realest points of the whole interview when he said, "There's no advantage to keeping animosity with another human being." And honestly, that's something we can all take from this. So yeah, this wasn't just a story about beef getting squashed. It was about growth, maturity, and realizing that sometimes letting go isn't weakness, it's actually power. Vlad proved that even in hip-hop media, peace can still be profitable.